In 2023, superhero films lately are divisive, to say the least. We've seen the MCU and DC take their biggest hits this year, while films like Across the Spider-Verse and Guardians of the Galaxy 3 stood out as great movies. But regardless, people seem completely done and even bored with superhero films of late and the genre as a whole. But what if I told you there was a superhero show that rivals, if not bests, some of your favorite superhero films and series? And I almost guarantee you've never seen it. It's even on Disney Plus, hiding in the background, waiting to be discovered. The show is called Moving, a South Korean drama and action TV series. Based on the popular manhwa by author Kang Fu, it's recently become Disney Plus and Hulu's most watched K-drama of all time, with a 98% audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes. And just recently, some of the cast have been awarded Best Actor, Best Upcoming Actor and Actress, and more at the 2023 Asia Content Awards. While these are some amazing achievements, does that mean the show really is that good? In short, yes, it is. And it's shocking to me how many people haven't actually heard of this show. Heck, I didn't even know it was airing until a month after seeing an ad on Facebook. Facebook, of all places. So, curious to check out this show that I just randomly found on an ad, I watched it, and I was not disappointed.
누군가 삭제하고 있다.
So what is it about Moving that makes it so different from everything you've seen before? Well, Moving isn't just a superhero show. It has superhero themes, definitely, but at the core of the show, it focuses on family, sprinkled in with a bit of action, thriller, and spy espionage to spice things up. Moving follows the story of parents with special abilities protecting their children who have also inherited said abilities. And they face off against a whole range of different enemies, dangerous governments, private organizations, gangs, and even some people with their own abilities. And with this central premise, you're hooked in and never let go. Moving does an excellent job at never losing sight of this. The family drama and emotional moments are never sacrificed for more action or a badly timed joke. Even when spanning across several decades worth of story, the characters always come first. Now, speaking of characters, this series has a lot, with each parent and child having a different set of abilities. But with 20 episodes, each roughly 40 to 50 minutes worth of content, each character is fleshed out and detailed, meaning that your favorite character isn't overlooked and you become enriched in the world of these characters. One of the main characters, Bonsok, has the power of flight from his unknown father. Rather than train him, his single-parent mother teaches Bonsok to hide his powers, using items like heavy weights to keep him on the ground and feeding him largely oversized meals to increase his own body weight. But Bonsok can't hide his powers forever. Whenever he feels a strong emotion, his power activates and he begins to float beyond his control. Pair this with him having to hide his power for his entire life, it's reasonable for Bonsok to feel his mother is completely unjustified and almost irresponsible for not training him to control his powers. But a few episodes later, we switch to the backstory of his mother and some other parents, showing us pretty clearly why they want their children to hide their powers. The threat from governments both in and outside South Korea, secret agents and organizations, gangs, corrupt officials, and not to mention the years of trauma and heartache these parents have suffered. So while they cannot help passing on their abilities to their children, they can choose whether to pass on that life of hardship with their powers being known to the world. Especially when we live in a world where cameras, smartphones, and social media can be a huge threat to hiding these children, which actually becomes a plot point later on. And it's not just the main characters. The villains, even if you don't agree with them, you can maybe at least understand them. Every single character has their reasons for choosing whether to use, abuse, or hide their powers. And that ties directly in with their backstory, who they were and are now. This is a compliment to the writing of Kang Fu, who was the one who adapted the screenplay from his own manhwa series. The way that Kang Fu dedicates a few episodes to each character, but links them all across decades is incredible and not an easy task in storytelling. Everyone knows each other in some way or another, and you're either a hero or a villain in someone else's story. No one is right and no one is wrong, but just fighting for what they believe in, which ties back in nicely to the strong theme of family. Due to the plot structure of Moving, the audience is placed in an almost omnipotent presence, with each episode giving a little more to the greater story. So when the climax of the story eventually arrives, there is more emotion and weight behind it. It's very similar to how Endgame used all the years worth of movies that had come before it to give that finale movie a sense of purpose and weight. We've seen the stories of all these different characters, and now we are rewarded as an audience seeing them come together. Moving takes a similar approach. It forces the series to become really tightly written due to its format, producing great quality episodes rather than quantity. But let's be real, what's a superhero show without its action? Does Moving live up to the hype of superhero shows before? Can it compete on that level? The answer is a big yes. I'm pleased to say that the fight scenes and action in this show are unreal. The visual effects are fairly decent with a mix between green screen and CGI. There are some brutal fights and kills which will have you screaming and shouting in excitement or fear. There is this one long take in a hotel where one of the parents goes from room to room killing hundreds upon hundreds of gangsters. It's incredible. There's also surprisingly a lot of practical sets, allowing for fights to have real stunt actors crashing through walls or plummeting down floors in favor of CGI replacements. But every fight has a purpose and place in the story. While they are great action scenes, the emotional weight is there too, especially in the last few episodes. It just keeps getting better and better. This also means that every fight is progressing or changing the plot and characters involved. That way, it doesn't feel like you're trading fight scenes and action for story and characters. Again, the emotion and themes are never sacrificed. So if that won't convince you, I'm not sure what will. If you are itching for a superhero show that is rich with character exploration, a plot spanning multiple decades, brutal and purposeful action scenes, then this is for you. Moving has cemented itself for me as one of the top forms of superhero storytelling. It's rare nowadays to see something like this in the superhero genre, but the talented cast and crew on Moving pulled it off, because that's what a great superhero show should really be about. A really well written story that is set in a superhero genre, rather than a story using superhero genres to create a mediocre story. Moving is streaming on Disney+, so head on over, watch it, and come back to tell me what you think. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. Subscribing to the channel will also help out. It's free and only one button away. Thanks for watching, and get hyped.